Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This year I decided to do a clean and simple holiday card series. I know some of us give out holiday cards and sometimes we need to mass produce them. So this year I am participating in the online card classes holiday style. And there they show us several ways to make clean and simple cards. So I thought I would bring you my version of clean and simple cards. So I'm going to show you an example. I made this card a couple days ago on my Periscope. If you're not following me on Periscope, head on over to the app or log on online, and I am at MZ Dana Joy. So let's get started. So I'm starting out with a really non-traditional color. I would like to make cards sometimes that are not the typical red and green cards, and I have a tendency to go to blues and golds and browns. So we're going to start with blue today. So I went ahead and cut out a piece of Canson watercolor paper, and I used the cross stitch rectangle from My Favorite Things. For my image today, I'm using the ornament stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and we're going to use this beautiful ornament right here. So I'm trying to do this without having to edit my video because I really am so excited to show you guys how to make these really quick cards. So I'm going to pick up the image on my acrylic block, and for today's ink we're going to be using the Brutus Monroe Premium Chalk ink in the color of Oz. I love this color. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to take my cap off. And what is so nice about these inks is that they're you can watercolor with them before they dry. Once they are dry, they are permanent inks. So I'm just going to place that into the middle of my card, and I'm just going to give a firm press. I'm going to grab my water brush, and I'm just going to lightly move the color around. It's just going to be organic, so I'm not trying to get a perfect impression. I just want to move some of my color around, just so I have some of the outlines done. So you see how easy that was? Very easy to do. Next, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, and I'm going to use the big scripty Greetings Holiday from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to use the Be Joyful because, you know, that's my last name and I like to be joyful. So I'm going to actually use some Versamark with this, but before I do it, I'm going to want to heat set my card so I know that my ink is totally dry before I end up putting on any embossing powder. So I'm just going to dry that. I'm going to go from the front to the back, trying to keep my card from warping. And isn't that color beautiful? Look how pretty that color is. If you have not seen the new line from Brutus Monroe, I will link it to the video at the bottom. Okay, now since I know my card is dry, my image is dry, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my image, or my sentiment rather. Get that lined up where I want it. Now you can use a MISTI for this as well, but I'm just going to wing it and just use my acrylic block. I'm also going to grab my EK Success powder tool just to make sure that I don't get any fray pieces of the embossing powder anywhere. Alright, so I'm going to just make sure I have everything lined up, and I'm actually going to press this down into my pad because I really need to re-ink it, and I want to get a good impression the first time. So I'm going to press that down. I'm going to bring in a coffee filter, and we're going to be using the Hero Art Silver Embossing Powder today. I really love this powder. Turns out to be a very pretty silver color when he embossed. Not too brassy and not overwhelming. And before I finish with this, I'm going to grab back in the top of my ornament so I can just emboss everything at one time. So I'm just putting that in my Versamark ink. I'm going to line it up across the top of my ornament. And we're going to go ahead and emboss that one as well. So this is going to be very pretty. I'm going to go ahead and grab my heat tool, make sure it's hot. And you're going to see this beautiful silver come to life. Alrighty. Since my gun was heated up, it actually melted very quickly. Can you see how pretty that is? Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and put back in my embossing powder because I don't want to lose that. Alright, so that is the base of the card. Now you can stop there and just mount it on some paper and have an extremely clean and simple card. But we're going to take it a step further. I actually want to add a little bit of my ink around the edges. So this is why it really focuses in on just my ornament. So I'm just going to grab a dauber, and you can also use a blending tool for this if you like. And I'm just going to go along the outside of my card and add in some of that beautiful Oz color. Just going to do it on all four sides, and then I'll start bringing in some of the color into the middle of my card. But I'm just going to start on the sides because that's where I want my ink to be the darkest. I'm going to grab a little bit more, and I'm just going to keep turning my card. So now at this point, I have a really good heavy base around the outside. Now I'm going to start bringing some of that color in. I'm not even going to go back into the ink pad. I'm just going to use what's on my craft mat and start bringing that color in. And there is a good amount left on my dauber, so I can just use that to bring in some of that softer color. As you can see, I don't even have to dip back into the ink pad. I'm just going to scoop some right off the mat, coming from the end, and go ahead and blend it out. Now you can stop at this point and not do anything else, but I'm going to take it one step further. So I'm going to grab a little bit more of my color off my mat and bring it in across the top. So whatever's left on your mat, feel free to use that. Don't waste that beautiful ink. Alright, so now it really spotlights my image. I'm going to put that up, and I'm going to go ahead and clean my mat just so I don't get any of this color onto my card base. I'm just going to clean that up real quick, and then I'm going to dry it off with a paper towel just to make sure everything's gone. Alright. So the next step I want to do is I want to add in a tad bit of glitter across the bottom. Holiday cards scream to have glitter. So I'm just going to put a simple thin line using some red line tape across the bottom so I can just add just a little bit more sparkle to my card. So I'm just going to line my tape up as carefully as I can and go ahead and rub it down, grab my scissors, and cut it off. Just going to wrap it around the end of my card, and I'm really going to push down so I can make sure that that tape is going to stick. And this is really easy to do with red line tape, but you can do this with glue if you like. Whatever you have on hand, just go ahead and use it. So now I'm going to bring in some turquoise color sequins. I believe this is from the Recollection collection at Michael's, and I think it was like 20 colors or 24 colors in a pack. So I'm just going to sprinkle that down. I'm going to lay my card down, and I'm going to really burnish in that glitter. And I want to burnish it in so it's not riding off when I am doing my, when I'm sending this card to a friend. I don't want them to open the card and have glitter everywhere. So I'm really just going to burnish that glitter in really well. Alright, so I'm going to tap that off. And I'm actually going to take a paper towel and wipe my card down so I can just get all that extra glitter off. So you see how pretty that is? Alright, for our last step, we're almost wrapping up the card. I'm just going to remove some of this glitter so it doesn't get on the back of my project. Next, we're going to go ahead and finish up the card. So I'm going to grab my ATG gun. I'm going to go ahead and put my panel down. Now you can use pop-up dots, you can use fun foam to mount this, but I'm just going to go ahead and mount it down onto my mat. And this paper, I believe, is just from Stampin' Up. I've had it for quite some time, so I'm not quite sure what the name of it is. But you can use any. You can use Basil paper, Simon Says stamp paper. So there you have it. Lastly, I'm going to mount this on some watercolor paper because this watercolor paper is really thick and it's great when you want to do this shape of a card so it stands tall instead of opening sideways. I'm going to grab my ATG gun again, and this is my go-to adhesive. I really just love this adhesive. Okay, and we're going to bring in our card, place it down in the center. Alrighty, so we have a fantastic, clean and simple card. One more step, I want to add some sequins. So this sequence is from Cartwright, and I'm just going to add a few here and there. I don't want to overdo the card. These things are a little sticky, want to stay with me. And I'm going to just grab some Martha Stewart glue. I'm going to use my tweezers. I'm just going to scatter them around. Just going to play with them. And I like to use odd numbers. I just think it kind of brings a little bit of symmetry to your card. And I want all your eye to go, your view to go right into the middle of that image. I also am going to use a few silver ones so I can coordinate my color. Just going to bring in a few of these, maybe 3 of those as well. I'll scoot that one off to the side. And these are a tad bit bigger, so they're really going to pop against those smaller ones. I'm going to actually add one right in the middle of my ornament. Now you can punch a hole in this before you put it down and put string through it, and that would be very pretty as well. Alright, so I kind of have my sequins where I want them. Just going to use my glue and place my sequins down. Just going to scoot it out, put some glue. And this glue is going to dry clear on my card, so I'm not worried about having any residue left behind. So as you can see, this card did not take us very long to put together. Really easy. But like I said, you can stop right with just doing the embossing, and you can skip doing the glitter border, and you can totally skip doing the sequins. This is just something I wanted to add to the card because I am a bling girl. I love myself some bling. And lastly, I'm going to put that one right on the top. And that is going to finish up our card. Alrighty, there you have it. A really simple but pretty and sparkly holiday card. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I will see you guys soon with another clean and simple video. If you're not following my blog, please make sure to subscribe as well as to my channel. I will see you guys soon. Go forth and be crafty. Well, that wraps up another day of card making for the Clean and Simple Holiday Card Series. I hope you guys liked the video today. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. I will see you guys soon. Go forth and be crafty.